the actual name Frog was supposed to be named, 1270. We've got all kinds of naming incentives on the website. If you want to check it out, gamesdonequick.com/tracker. You can go and check that out. You can name characters from Chrono Trigger. You can name characters in Final Fantasy VII. It's good to see that Beefaroni is leading the list for Tifa's name by a good margin. Thank you very much, anybody who's doing that. Where is my donation incentive at? Let me see if I can find that. There it is. Crypt of the Necrodancer Diamond Run with all zones. That's an extra run. It's at $6,222 of $7,500. I would like to see that hit its goal. I would like to see a run of Necrodancer with the new character Diamond. Only 1,300, little less than 1,300 away from actually hitting that goal. So if you want to do me a favor, you can go ahead and donate for that cause. All right. He did that on purpose, very breathy in my ear. Told me that it's time now to go to the interview chamber with Spike Vegeta. Take it away, buddy. Take it away, bud.
We were just sort of chatting, you know.
We were just having a good time. We were talking about Prince of Persia and everything. What's up, everyone? I am Spike Vegeta. Welcome back to Summer Games Done Quick 2017. I am joined by this fine gentleman over here,
Hello.
Hennejoe. How you doing, man?
I am pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how it went overall, despite the crash. But, you know, how are you?
I'm doing great. I was about to say, that was only one crash.
Yeah.
I think like in terms of golf scores, it was much far under par than last time. I'm actually going to throw it right over to a social media question from Peach Hugs. Hennejoe, how are you this adorable?
I don't know. I don't know, maybe it's like like D&D, maybe it's a buff, like because I'm English, I get like +5 to adorableness. I honestly don't know.
All right, so he's a nerdy adorable is what that means.
I definitely don't try.
What I do appreciate is you're rocking the plaid and the flannel over here. So
definitely.
It's like, it makes us, it is good on nerds, let me just say.
For sure.
It's a good look.
100%.
That kind of, I guess, led into a little bit, anyways, the question that I wanted to get to, and we can show here as well from ST4R Wave. How do you keep a positive mentality when things go wrong? You know, a lot of people, you were just talking about how you got like 3,500 followers for a run that was pretty rough last time. There was lots of crashes, just game problems a few years ago. You keep a very positive attitude, I feel like, throughout your runs. Do you have a specific mentality?
Yeah, no, I think, literally it's sort of what the event's about, really.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not here to get a world record.
Sure.
Pretty much. I mean, if you do, great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be
you get
fantastic.
paid extra. That's great. There's a bounty for it.
But yeah, it just, just the fact that you're here, you've got all your buds around you, you can just sort of chill out, enjoy the game, just as you would normally when you're streaming. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Nothing I can do about it.
At that point, yeah, it's just like, well, okay, got to think about the next thing I got to do.
Yeah.
This next question from Inmost Lighthelm ties into my next question as well. Is this game annoying/frustrating to learn? Because I am someone, this is one of my favorite games of all time. It's been on my speedrun bucket list. I've always thought about it. I love the parkour elements to it. What is the hardest part about getting into this game and, like you say, annoying, frustrating?
There is loads of little stuff that's really annoying, but on the flip side, once you've got that the little stuff down, it feels so good. Just to do it all. There's quite a few. The fact that the best platform to run on is PC.
Yes.
And with us, I think there's probably quite a few PC games where it's the case. There's a lot of inconsistencies between machines, hardware, how it runs. That's probably, that's outside of the actual speedrun itself, but that's the most frustrating part for sure for me.
For console runners out there of this game, are like a lot of those tricks that you just showed off, do they just straight up not work, or are they just,
Yeah, I can't say for sure because I've only tested on emulator.
Some things might just be sub-pixel, sub-frame, 0 frame, perfect tricks. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, so I can't say like for 100%, but I do know that on emulator, first-person glitches only work in certain directions.
Sure.
So it might be emulator, but I've not had an actual console to test it on. So I don't know. Maybe someone should go test it and let me know.
All right, we'll have to try out the PC version then when we pick it up. I want to get into our next question here from Amaryllis Masaki. What other games do you like to speedrun?
Not very good ones.
Not very good.
No, yeah, it's most. This is the only speedrun I do, which is like I like to take seriously.
Which is respectable. Yeah, sure.
My other games are like Family Guy, Futurama, Small Soldiers. Games that who even knew that Futurama had a video game?
I mean, I could assume.
Yeah.
Is it no, it doesn't surprise me when licensed stuff has games.
Yeah.
Are they good games? Is my question.
Yeah.
Well, no. Yeah. Okay. Showing that positive attitude. At least being honest. And one more question here from social media. We got Luz Bolito 1119. When you started to do speedruns, and when did you start to do speedruns, and why do you do them? He wants to say sorry for the bad English. Don't worry, man. I can't even say it.
No, I'm English.
I don't know English.
I'm English. I don't even know how to speak English.
It's a weird language.
Yeah.
It's like #1 ranked, like hardest language,
yeah,
right?
I before E, except after, I don't know. Yeah. I literally, I started it as just something to do. And then once I was doing it, the bit that I actually enjoyed way more is the community that you actually get from doing it. Like, you start streaming it, people come into your stream, they regularly come into stream, you get to know them, they get to know you, you get to like have fun. That's genuinely like sort of, why I do it. I do it because I like the community. And also there's not just the streaming aspect, but the sort of, when any percent when zips were found, our community just went like crazy insane. Everyone was like discovering new things, everyone was trying new strats and sharing that between each other. That was also really cool as well. That's one of the most fun things you can do in speedrunning is break a game together.
Yeah, no,
sure.
I 100% agree with that. It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome to see how this game, like, it started because years ago when I was interested in it as a speedrun, it was really just, like, it's parkour. It's fun to move, the prints, all these little optimizations you can do. But now that it has that glitchy element to it, it's a really nice balance. I loved the run. So.
Awesome.
Well, heck yeah, dude. Well, thank you so much for your joined here by Hennejoe. That was an awesome run of Prince of Persia. Glad you got a revenge match on it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be sending it right back up. Again, this is SGDQ 2017. Hope you enjoy. What's up, Bubbles? Hope you guys enjoy the Talos Principle. Check it out.
Awesome.
All right, that was a pretty awesome interview. Now it's time for the Talos Principle with Azorae.
Hello and welcome. My name is Azorae. This is the Talos Principle. There's not much else to say. If you saw the interview from earlier, you'll know a little bit more about this game. We're doing all sigils today, which is basically the 100% run of this game. Not too long. Hopefully we'll come in under 50 minutes. I think that's our estimate. My estimate might be an hour. Either way, I'm ready to get going as soon as staff waves me in, as soon as we're ready for the countdown, and we'll get started. All right. So we're going to go ahead and begin in 3, 2, 1, go. So this is the hardest trick in the game. Just to start us right off. It's kind of a series of platforming right here to here to here. Ah, I missed it. All right. We'll do the easy backup. That's not a big deal. There's a series of about 7 jumps that you need to do pretty much all perfectly. This is only about 5 seconds slower. Just hoping to go for that sweet series of jumps, though, to start us off. So the Talos Principle is a puzzle game by Crow Team, the creators of Serious Sam. And if you're familiar with the Serious Sam games, these locales will seem a little bit similar to you. We're kind of in the medieval ruins sort of deal. But it's a puzzle game, unlike Serious Sam, which is a first-person shooter. So similar to Portal, I'm going to be going through all of these puzzles that are all kind of self-contained and collecting sigils from the end of all of them. Sigils look like Tetris pieces. I'm going to be using those to fill in some Tetris puzzles later on. Let me line this up real quick. There we go. But unlike most puzzle games, I'm not going to be solving very many puzzles. Instead, I'm going to play this mostly like an action platformer. The way I'm going to be doing that is using a bunch of tricks, mostly using the different puzzle items that are in the game. So for example, these jammers shut off barriers, but they also propel me over ledges like this if I jump backwards with them. I can use these to collect pretty much everything in the game relatively quickly. This is going to be our first star right there. There are 30 stars in the game that are kind of hidden in far away, kind of offbeat or really weird puzzles. They serve as kind of secrets, and if you collect all of them, you can unlock a different ending. So that's the ending that I'm going to be going for at the end of the game. Not much to say as I tear through this first level. We're going to be restarting after every sigil, or almost every sigil, just to kind of move more quickly to the beginning of the level. Whenever you enter a new puzzle, you have an option to restart, to put yourself back at the beginning. We're not doing it here, for example, because I didn't actually enter this puzzle through the front door. I kind of came in through the back side, jumping over and skipping everything. But with 7 sigils and a star, we're done with A1, and we can make our way to the hub.
The intended solution for all of those tutorial puzzles was to use the jammers to reach the Tetris pieces. So realistically, we didn't actually do anything too unintended.
Yeah. We just use them in a slightly different way. All right. So right here I need to be careful because if I misstep there, that turret will kill me before I grab my sigil. No problems here. Now this puzzle, this QR code right here, will link you to a website that will give you some information about the moon landing, which happens to happen on July 20th of 1969. So obviously the solution to that star puzzle is to go to these numbered pillars, pop in 7 and 20 for July 20th, and drain all the water. Very simple puzzle. And one of, I believe, less than 10, at least less than 10, that you can solve, or you solve as intended in this speedrun. More tricky wall platforming there.
You were really fast about scanning that QR code.
Yeah.
Quite speedy.
I've played this game before. You can also scan robots very quickly, or QR codes very quickly because you are playing as a robot. Took my little first key there. I exclusively speedrun games where you play as robots, apparently.
Seems to be.
So we're going to be going for another star solution here. We need to preserve a jammer, even though we're grabbing the sigil to open this gate, grab the star. More quick resets. I'm going to turn around here. Nothing much to say about this one. Here we're not even going to be using any objects. We're just going to kind of prop ourselves up onto this little piece of rubble and then up over this wall. All right, so why are we collecting these Tetris pieces? Well, around the game we have all of these different panels that have puzzles. The yellows, like I'm using now, are used to unlock different objects. So this unlocks the laser connector, which lets me do some more complex puzzles involving lasers. They also work similar to jammers in that I can use them to object boost. And then the quick object boost here to grab one of these stars. Then we're going to be doing the same object boost and kind of making a wide berth around this level to pick up a couple more sigils. Nothing much to add. Now for some item jumps like that one, I need to kind of quickly drop the item. There we are. Need to drop the item, pick it back up while I'm doing the boost. And then grab it again and do another object boost up on top of it to get a little bit of extra height. And timing on that is a little bit tight, but it's not too bad. Quick jump over a statue here. Grabbing a sigil and moving on. Alright. So I'm doing the levels in a bit of an odd order here. I went from A1 to A3 to A2 to A4, and this just kind of optimized the overworld. I'm trying to do it with as little movement as possible. So this is the bump jump. It's basically at the mercy of physics randomness here. There we are. Fourth try is not too bad. If you run at that block at full speed there and jump at the right time, you'll get a bit of an angle with your momentum, and it'll send you over that barrier. Speaking of going over barriers, there is a small spot here we can get over. We'll just do it the old way.
This is the first instance of the run of the laser connectors.
Yeah.
Mostly you use them to jump on top of walls.
Yeah, similar to the jammers. All right, so here is another puzzle solved as intended. It's real hard. All right, I did it. Sweet.
Nice.
Moving on. So here we're introduced to the concept of crossing lasers. So lasers will block each other, but if you just walk through them 3 times like that, they'll unblock each other long enough to open a gate, just long enough for you to squeeze in. So I'm going to be doing that again right here. 1 and 2 and 3. And that's all for A4. Now we need to pick up our friend, the companion cube. Wait, sorry, it's a hexahedron. I think companion cube is copyrighted Valve or something. Cubes are very useful. You can stand on them, you can put them on buttons, and that's kind of it. But they're very useful in just those 2 things. Coming up here, I'm going to be doing an object boost on this gate. The gate is incredibly slippery, so when I get this boost, yeah, there we go, it'll boost me real high and get straight over that wall. We're going to take a bit of a interesting path here to grab this star. Up and over this wall. Easy. Now, Deception's a pretty easy puzzle. I just need to run straight through it, grab a jammer, and do an object boost. So we've got time for a quick donation while I get between this one and the next one.
All right, we have $100 from Nissia. Hey, Azorae, did you know that you can hold X to reset? Shout out to the Unconditional Love Club, Azo Squid.
Wow.
Thanks, Nisia. Appreciate that. A lot of people in my chat love to spam that you can hold X to reset because every time you do it through the menu, which is apparently incorrect even though it's much, much faster, the little text will pop up. And whenever people post it, I start noticing it again because after playing this game for so long, I've kind of tuned it out. See, it's like right there, right in the middle.
There it is.
I've just never noticed it. It just kind of blends into the background for me, but every so often people will bring it back to the forefront. Alright, A5's coming up. Neat little weather effects in this level. Starts out raining, and then every time you collect a sigil, the weather will swap. Alright, one little buzzer, similar to the puzzle in A2 where I need to do the double item boost right there. And here we're going to be using the same jump twice to get up on top of a corner and make our way to a sigil over to the right and a sigil over to the left. So I'm going to be doing the same trick twice. We keep those donations coming, that'd be sweet.
All right, we have $20 from Zemophobiac. Hey, Zem here. Shout out from the Talos Principal speedrunning community. This run is amazing, and the community has become an incredible part of my life over the past year. I don't regret a minute of the hundreds of hours I've poured into helping break this game. Hope you do good.
Good. Yeah. Good. Thank you very much, Zemi. I'm glad Zemi decided to donate in the form of, to the stream instead of cheering 1 bit while I'm at the hardest part of that last level. It's a fun little habit he has. All right, so when I ran this game at SGDQ2017, we didn't do a whole lot of these. I'm going to change my settings a bit so that I don't accidentally launch myself into the stratosphere. And if I stand just right here, this cube will launch me straight to this star.
Nice.
A+. Yeah, the cube jump had been known for a while in the community, but has been often considered like super unruly. We didn't really have any idea how to control anything about it until a couple of our scientists got their hands on it. I did pick that up for a reason, by the way. I don't just need to listen to Dr. Drennan talk. But a few of our cube jump scientists went through and found more consistent ways to set them up. This jump's a little tricky, so let me actually focus for a moment. So now we peppered them all through the run, and it's pretty fun to watch yourself get launched. So setting your frame rate lower will actually make the jump go lower. Setting your frame rate higher will make the jump go higher. And then your player speed also affects the trajectory of your jump. So normally I always play on fast because it's a speed run. You've got to go fast. But setting your speed to slow will make some cube jumps work otherwise, that otherwise wouldn't. So I'm going to use this same connector from this puzzle to just get up on top of this cliff. I'm going to try for the swag jump. Let's see if we can get there. Yay. Through the trees. All right. And our friend the paint bucket should be spawning right here behind this statue. So this is paint. Paint works similarly to the soapstones in Dark Souls, if you're familiar with those, where you can leave messages for people They're only visible to your Steam friends, like right here, Zemiphobiac. Thank you for your donation. You have no idea what's going on, neither do I. Unfortunate there, fell off the barrier. Some of these jumps are very tricky. The barriers are razor thin and the walls are all super slippery. So a lot of this platforming is actually just like a rote memorization of where you can and can't stand, and it's kind of surprising all the places that you can't. But I've got just one more star to pick up and I'll have finished World A. Rejoice. Hey, all right.
For you have fulfilled all your tasks.
Take that, Tetris Grandmaster.
You have conquered all its guardians and solved all its mysteries.
So these elevators are normally super long, but if you input that sort of button pattern, the game is kind of confused at what floor you're on, and will set an autosave at the floor that you're going to instead of the floor that you're on. So as soon as you see that little save message, the double click. As soon as you see that little save message, you'll know that you can just reload,
A new land.
and it'll put you on the floor you were going to. Now, World B, we actually do in order. So we'll start with B1, make our way straight through to B7.
Promised you eternal life. But know that
So we got the best paint
eternal
spawn
may
for this level, which is
only be
good.
by those who serve a purpose
Paint will spawn
greater
randomly,
than themselves.
which is a little bit
All else
unfortunate.
is decay. So it was written
But
in the hidden words
we've
before
actually
the
managed to figure out exactly what makes the paint spawns tick, and there are 5 separate paths that the paint can spawn on. Normally when I'm speedrunning, I have a document that has them all listed, but I left that at home, so I'm going to be hopefully able to remember all of that. I'm sure Darkid's rolling over, yelling at me to actually memorize them, but that's way too much work. Just have a little notepad document. Unless, almost forgot something very important here. This is, I think, puzzle number 3 solved as intended.
The paint has a unique purpose in the speedrun. Unlike other test objects that are used to jump on top of walls, paint is used to jump up on top of really tall walls.
Yeah. So paint basically takes the item boosting and cranks it up to 11. It lets you go much higher than you normally can just because of its unique hitbox. Over the fence. That one's dangerously close to an intended solution. But here we can just use the jammer that I had from that puzzle and just aim it straight through the wall. All right. And we have our paint in the correct spawn, ready for us to just go right over this corner. All right, so I'm a huge fan of this next unlock. I've now unlocked the fan, which you can use to push yourself around or boost yourself over walls. It's not nearly as cool as the way that I normally boost myself over walls, but we're going to be using fans to do some pretty cool stuff a little bit later.
And yet your will is free because you were made.
All right, second cube jump's coming up, but first I need to do a fan snipe. So this fan is activated by this button, but I need this fan with me. So what I'm going to try to do is grab this fan at this very same instant that I touch this fan. And if I do it correctly, well, and that's a big if at this point. There we are. I'll take the fan with me and can use that on this button, set up my cube jump, come over here. And we're going to go slow 60 this time, so this one will go much higher. I need to line it up. It'll be right about here. We'll go with here.
Wow.
Not quite. A little bit too close. It's not a big deal. I can just go back and set it up again. Fan snipe, please. It's definitely harder at slow 60. Ah, damn. All right. There we are. And if this doesn't work, we'll just go through the tomb with jammer glitches. It's not that much slower. Let's actually do the lineup. This looks much better.
Got it.
There we are. Easy.
Easy.
That's what we call in the business first try.
Every time.
That the first jammer glitch in the run?
That is the first of, I believe, 2 jammer glitches. This is the second of 2 jammer glitches. So Normally, you can't grab objects through barriers, and that's what the whole cube jump is based upon, is that you normally can't grab objects through barriers, so the game gets confused by what you're trying to do when you put a cube on the other side of an open barrier. So this is especially important with jammers, because if you could grab jammers through barriers, you could just break every puzzle easy by grabbing a jammer through a barrier. And these object boosts are super weird because of the odd geometry on these rocks. Oh, come on. There we are. But if you position yourself just right, you can actually grab the jammer through the barrier by putting yourself directly in the middle. B3 is a bit of a cool level. Nice and bright compared to the last one. So Eagle's Nest, we're going to be doing a cube stack. Normally, if you try to put a cube on top of another cube while you're standing there, like, it won't let you. But if you put it exactly right there, you can buffer a jump and make it all the way over. And now we're going to be using this cube to do a couple of different things. The first thing we need to do is grab this star. So there we go. Now we're going to be grabbing 2 sigils from the other 2 adjacent puzzles, and then we're going to be using a cube jump to grab the last sigil in this world. So here I need to be very careful with this platforming, because if I fall off at any point, it's obviously very, very bad for me. And I need to maintain this cube, so I managed to make it across. Plant this cube here, use some of the game-intended guided jumps to make it back up to that wall, and grab the other sigil. Here we're going to be setting up another cube jump. And again, change my settings just to make sure this works. So we go to slow, 60. This one's not nearly as precise. We just need to kind of fling ourselves over here. And as long as we land remotely close to it, we'll be just fine. All right. So B4 introduces the recorder, which is a super cool test element. It lets you kind of hit the recorder, record a series of movements, and then hit the recorder again to play back those movements. And like 2 robots working at the same time will solve the puzzle together. Paint, please. So it's a super cool mechanic, and I'm going to be completely skipping it in this round. Paint jumps much, much faster. It skips the Tetris puzzle, and it skips a lot of headache trying to route all the recorder stuff, which is not very fast. It's not often that I overshoot these. Now, all the item boosts are frame rate dependent, so when I'm playing on a PC that's not my own, like I am right now, everything feels just a little bit different. And these are definitely difficult just to begin with, getting up onto these walls. So there's going to be a few things that I am hopefully going to be able to do relatively easily. Like even the paint jumps, if I mess one up, it is almost free to just retry it. But we've got a bunch of these statue paint jumps to do in B4, so now's a pretty good time for a donation.
All right, we have $20 from Ben. Hi all, haven't ever had a comment read, but here's hoping. Had to donate during one of my favorite games, the Talos Principle. I love everything that y'all do. Keep up the great work. Shoutouts to my friend Matthew and my wonderful fiancée Moria. Oh, and oh yeah, save the animals. We have $200 from Akime Kim. Talos Principle is one of my favorite games. Thoughtful and challenging puzzles. Oh wait, he skipped them all. Anyway, this is for the Diamond Run. Last year, the GDQ hotfix hosting the Necrodancer World Cup Finals introduced me to the world of Condor racing. Lots of love to that community and rip phasing.
There's a star inside that Sphinx that I need to line up a laser for, so we're going to go ahead and grab another star that's right here using this connector. Got a little overzealous there with the tree. Trees are notorious for being completely awful in this game. There we are. And there's a particularly nasty one coming up in the next level. That's probably going to give me a hard time, but we'll see if we can get there. All right, B5 is an interesting level. This is the monument level. You can see there's a star on top of this monument. And what you need to do is you need to chain together a bunch of different elements from a bunch of different puzzles to make it work. You need a blue laser, to activate the fan. You need the fan itself to launch yourself up to where it is. And yeah, unfortunately, I went a little bit too high there. Again, this is a frame rate dependent jump, so playing on a new PC means I'm going to have to kind of recalibrate myself a bit, but I was very close right there. Hey, okay. Second try there is not terrible. I'm going to link together all of these things, grab our sigil, make our way here. Now we're going to be doing a cube jump here. The setup is relatively precise, but even if things go a little bit poorly, there are backups. So I need to look at this rock on the ground right here. I need to look at that spot on the cube, do a cube jump, and hopefully I don't hole-in-one myself. But, there we go, perfect.
Got it.
Excellent landing. Now it's very important that I don't get myself killed there because it will reset the laser. And that actually adds a little bit of challenge to routing this level because you need to have that laser active for the entire time. You can't actually reset after you do each sigil like you do in most normal levels. So I'm going to go ahead and steal that jammer out of that puzzle, bring it over here. Makes this puzzle a lot easier when you can just, turn off the exit gate. We're going to be doing something similar with this one over here, then stealing a fan and heading into the monument. Up. So I'm going to pick up this fan, cart it off to the middle of the map. See, I have my laser powering the fan pedestal thing. I just got to drop the fan right there, launch myself up, and there's the star. So coming up as a fan slide, I'm going to be opening up my log to kind of simulate the barrier slide thing. I'm going to try to get myself stuck on the edge of this fan and it'll just launch me forward like that. That happens a couple of times in the run. It's a very strange glitch and I'm not sure exactly why it works, but it is very helpful unless you beat that puzzle very, very quickly.
When you overcome
B6 is a relatively simple level, one of the easiest in the run, so now is definitely a good time to get some donations in.
That is the spark of
All right, we have a $25 donation from Gigabyte. I originally started speedrunning because of Azorae's Talos Principle run last time he ran it at AGDQ, so I thought it would be fitting that my first donation for this GDQ would be during this run. Good luck, Azorae. Azo cheer. We have $155 from Paddle.
Wow.
I had a lot of fun watching this run last year, and I'm glad to be able to see it again this year. Thank you to all the runners for being gamers without borders.
Almost an intended solution there, but no. Item jumps coming in clutch at the very end. Alright, B7. Good old B7. This is one of the harder levels in the run, just for a few incredibly obnoxious jumps that it has. The first one here is not too bad, especially if you just do it the safe way, but yeah. Safety's for scrubs, just get it first try easy. We got another cube jump here. This one, the goal is to go long rather than far. So the way I'm going to set this up is I'm going to wrap myself around the wall here so that the cube is kind of hidden behind it. I get stuck on the wall and it'll slingshot me forward like this. And I should make it all the way over to here where this button is. I can activate this fan, jump right onto it, and then reset level as soon as I grab the star.
Well done.
Thank you. All right. So we're not done with the fan across forever yet. We need this jammer. We're going to be going back in the direction that we just went, although a little bit more slowly. And I'll try the jammer jump here once, but this is incredibly finicky, especially when I'm not familiar with the frame. Oh, never mind, I'm fucking great at this game. Excuse me.
That's fine.
All right. Now I need to do a fin across forever again to grab this jammer again. Then we need to do a jammer jump onto these slope surfaces right here. Connect these together, and then we will use this jammer just one more time to get back over this wall.
On the first night,
Go listen to Dr. Drennan again here. So the jammer jams this turret, and another jammer to jam the other turret, and then all set with B7.
And the probes we sent out, Voyager 1 and 2, beyond the edge of our solar system, continuing their long journey through interstellar space, like memories of our ambition, ambassadors who have outlived their homeland. And then I thought,
Unfortunately, we'll never know what Dr. Drennan thought.
What does she think?
So we're on our way to our first star world. The way these work is that you have these 10 sigils right here, and they will give you a Tetris puzzle that you need to solve. This will go here, this will go here, this will go here, this will go there-ish, now over here.
Oh, heck.
There we go.
Chaos
8.
is that which existed before time. When the words of a story lose their meaning, when actions cease to have purpose. Know that only faith can protect you from this peril.
This level's pretty simple.
Garden of Worlds.
It's going to be a couple of the statue jumps and another item jump, so they're pretty solid time for a donation.
Sure. We have a $50 donation from an anonymous donor. Just stopping by to leave my daily contribution. Keep up the good work and have a nice day. And they leave a little smiley face for us. Thank you so much. We have an anonymous $25 donation saying, having struggled with this game myself, watching it torn apart is very satisfying.
All right. On our way to World C, I heard two claps in the back of the room. Thank you very much. World C introduces a couple of more difficult concepts, including the recorder platform, which you combo with a recorder, which we don't have, so we can't use it. So we need to find some more clever solutions for those puzzles. All right. It's on the bottom. It's here, this there, that there.
You have come far.
Shoutouts to Darkid, by the way, for compiling a list of the most optimal solutions for all of the Tetris puzzles so that I could ignore it in favor of solutions that are easier to memorize. So this is the cube elevator. It is currently going up. And thank you. This is a relatively precise cube jump that I need to set up here, so it needs to be kind of, by relatively precise, I mean it needs to be kind of there-ish. Okay, that's definitely not gonna work. Alright. That looks much better. So there's a little red dot conveniently placed right here, and I should fling myself directly onto these battlements. Perfect. Easy every time. So the way that the cube jump momentum works is that since you're going over such large distances, every little change is magnified. So if you're standing, ever so slightly to the left or ever so slightly behind where you should be, you'll end up with a way wrong angle or a way wrong distance. A lot of the times it doesn't matter, like this one. Like hopefully we'll get a hole-in-one here, which would be just great, but it looks like we're gonna come up a little bit short. I wanna go fast, please, thank you. That's why we're here.
Nice.
So that one we land here, and again, this is a little bit finicky doing this with a cube, but you need to jump over the barrier and then back. And I do need to keep this cube. Well, I guess I don't need to keep this cube. I can use this little statue bit instead. There's tons of Easter eggs in this game. It's a Crow Team game. Crow Team loves their Easter eggs, including this little statue here, which is in pieces around this level. You need to go around the level, find all the statue pieces, and then connect them all together. Fortunately, the statue bits have collision, and I can use them as platforms to reach the back sides of puzzles. One more item boost. This one is relatively precise. We need to do about right there. Excellent. And then we'll be on our way to C3, skipping C2 for last. So we had a normal paint spawn, which is good. We'll do another fan slide here, and then a couple of paint jumps. So again with the fan slide, stand here, open up your log, do some quick jump inputs, and slide your way to the sigil there. All right, so this cliff can be relatively rude. So hopefully, relatively rude. I was going to say hopefully it doesn't launch me in some weird direction, but at least it did it then and not like when I'm trying to do this jump. Oh, all right, it did it when I was trying to do that jump too, sure. All right. I have gone way too far. So these cliffs are super finicky. Anytime I'm doing any sort of item jumping on rocks, because of their weird geometry, they have a tendency to push you away, push you around, and just make your life absolutely miserable. Okay.
That sounds good.
As is tradition, that has literally never happened before. We've done it. We finally got that star and sigil. Awesome.
One of the nice things about Paint is because they're not used to solve puzzles, you can take them through the barriers freely.
Yeah, they're the one object in the game that can freely move between puzzles and hubs. All right. So here I'm just going to run around the back and use the rocks to platform up a cliff. So if we've got a donation, now's a great time.
All right, we have $50 from Dark Kid. Just wanted to say hi to Azorae and provide some interesting tidbits. There are 7 levels with intended solutions. There are 11 cube jumps in the run, of which 10 are on slow player speed. There are over 100 checkpoint restarts, and jammers, connectors, and cubes are used more often for jumping than for their intended purpose.
Darkid is one of the Talos scientists. He knows much more about this game's inner workings than I do. I just kind of go fast. Here we need to do a little bit of a puzzle. It's like the thing that's most closely resembled an actual Talos puzzle that we've done so far, but again, it's just broken immediately by using the jammer to jump. Oh, hello. Not supposed to land on top of that. A couple more item boosts over the barriers. Grab the star. Shoutouts to Notch. All right. There's the platform. We don't need it. We're not going to get it. C5 is actually cursed. Every world record run has like a 30-second time loss in C5, no matter who has it. So this run, probably nowhere close to world record, so we should be just fine. So here we're going to go to slow 25. 25 is useful when you want to do a kind of low arced cube jump. And there, I need to set it up just right because the slower player speed makes it a little bit more finicky to do. But there we go. Right there. Just a short hop. Now we need to balance that precariously on top of that little fan container, and then we'll grab this. And I want to be on slow 60. Perfect. All right. Now, Up Close and Jammed has like, what is it, like 3 sigils and 2 stars that we do from here, maybe something like that. I might have my numbers mixed up, but first we're going to go through and grab this, the actual Up Close and Jammed sigil, and then we need to actually come back and get the sigil from Dumbwaiter since we only got the star. Now, we can grab these 2 cubes, stack them up here, safely grab this jammer. Got dangerously close to that mine there. I'm just going to go ahead and ride this guy.
What?
That is actually the intended solution. One of the less telegraphed things in this game. It's like not taught anywhere explicitly, but you can put cubes on top of the buzzers and the mines, and that's the trick that normally loses people a bunch of time on world records. This bump jump, but you can put cubes on top of mines and buzzers and just ride them around.
That's really cool.
This is the only level in the game when you reset and the wall is to your left instead of behind you, so that's always incredibly confusing. All right, on our way to C star. Again, there's probably a more optimal way to do this with fewer rotations, but this one's incredibly easy to memorize because you just do the bottom 3 layers and then you just have 2 lines and 2 squares. All right, so this is the most difficult cube jump in the run. I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, I'll just go through the alternate strat, which is much slower, but also much faster than trying to get this cube jump for the next, 5 minutes. Now I do have to be at slow player speed here, so I kind of move obnoxiously slowly when I'm not moving forward. All right. So this setup is relatively precise. I want to get as close to this corner as I can until it pops like this, put it slightly on the side of the barrier. I'm going to actually block this guy off so that he doesn't bother me while I'm doing my setup. There's this one shiny little rock right here. Kind of want to center myself on it. Even at slow player speed, you still move way too fast. I'll look right here, and hopefully we'll get the hole-in-one. Oh, all right. Excellent, excellent. The rest of the run's easy. You don't have to like worry about anything. All right. A couple more barrier hops here. Let's grab you. Excuse me. There we are. Then we get to Nexus, this other puzzle right here. We grab our 6th silver sigil. 6th silver sigil, 6th silver sigil. Wow. 3 more of those, and we'll be able to enter the messenger ending room. Okay. Start out C7 with Dead Man's Switch here. Another one of these miserable tree jumps where you need to get on top of a wall there. Fortunately, we got that first try. Need to briefly connect the red laser to knock a cube off of the perch that it's on, and then set this up just so that I can wrap around this corner. There we go, perfect. We're going to be doing another 25 FPS cube jump to do a short hop over the wall with the cube. This one, much less precise than the previous. Oh, much less precise, but I'm still awful at it, apparently. Need to be a little bit closer so that I'm not going super, super low like I was. There we are. Set our settings back to normal. Hop over this wall. And then hop over this wall. It's incredibly convenient the cube jumps let you keep the cube that you're using to do it, because oftentimes they're used immediately afterwards. And right after we grab this, we're going to do one of the coolest puzzles in the run, in my opinion, even though it's not that big of a deal. So in Carrier Pigeons, there's a fan blocking the exit. But if you reset, you can actually just get through it before the fan activates by just running it immediately towards where it spawns.
So I have a question.
Sure thing.
If you know the answer to it. How was it figured out that you could use a different frame rate in order to make cube jumps more controllable?
Well, it's always been known that the frame rate did have an effect on it, just because everybody's cube jumps were different, and that was kind of what we pinpointed.
Sure.
So we tried to do it with the frame rates limited, and we managed to get relatively consistent distances and heights. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. It was the player speed that came much later. We didn't really know about the player speed making things work differently. But that discovery made them much, much more useful in the runs.
Does this count as an intended solution?
Yes, it does.
You didn't see the bridge there?
Yeah, it's an invisible bridge. It needs to walk between 2 statues. All right, C4. Throne room first. There's lots of stuff I need to do in throne room. First of which is to grab the star right up here. I need to buffer a jump to get over to this, connect this red laser, and use this cube to solve the puzzle. I guess solve the puzzle. I'm gonna kind of place it just so that it's tilted like this, and you can jump on top of it. I need to place it a little bit closer. There we are. Now I can use a guided jump to get here, collect our sigil, and then set up our next cube jump. Again, this setup is relatively precise because your landing zone is not large, but shouldn't be a big deal. This is the one you don't set to slow for. This one you do on player speed fast. That should land me right onto the roof. Drop the cube in front of me to hold all my momentum so I don't slide off. Like I said, stuff in this game is incredibly slippery. We are already on fast, unlimited. Alright. Now I don't have my handy dandy paint document with me, so I need to try to remember which one goes with the route that I'm on. I believe it's right here. Yes. Okay. So we're gonna do 2 paint jumps on this level, one in armory here. Now this jump is actually relatively tight, so I need to make sure I'm timing it correctly. All right. You can tell when a jump is hard because I hit my spacebar harder. Another quick paint jump in stables. This one's super easy on the GDQ computer compared to mine because my frame rate's about 40 or 50 higher than it normally is, and I get a lot of extra height. This game is totally pay to win. All right, C2 is the last real level. And just looking at my totals, it appears that I have collected everything. So shout outs to not forgetting things in your 100% run.
Do not falter. Do not fear.
Another hard jump. Another hard spacebar smack. Another one right there. Sweet. This next trick is only possible on consoles.
Nice.
So the bump jump height is actually affected by your frame rate. So we crank the frame rate all the way down here to 15, which unfortunately makes the game look completely awful and play even worse. So let's get that out of here. But it does allow you to get enough height off of that bump jump to make it straight over the wall there. The top half of that tree doesn't exist. And we'll make it straight over to ditching a fence, where we can grab, oops, grab this fan, grab the star, and then jump over this to here. One more paint jump to do. I'd also like to take a moment to remind everybody, there we go. We can turn these a little bit up now. A little bit up to low. Perfect.
Uh-oh.
It's fine. This is what changing settings looks like in this game. There we are. Okay. I'd like to remind you all that we're benefiting Doctors Without Borders, so please give us all of your money. All right. The game will look much prettier now that we're on low instead of lowest, but let's grab this paint right here. And hopefully... Wow, there's so many shadows. I normally don't play on graphic settings this high. This is scary. I'm going back. The Talos principle. There's a cat in this game. It's an Easter egg. I'll leave that as an exercise to the reader. It's fine. It takes a while to change settings. There we are. Needed to find a little nook there. We should be at 49. Perfect. All right, that means we have all the sigils. We need to collect 2 more stars.
And so it is
and it will be done.
You have overcome each trial that I set before you.
All right, off to the tower. So Elohim has forbidden us from climbing his sacred tower. So of course we're going to do it anyway. Shout out to, I believe it's Exodasher, yeah. All right. So this first tower puzzle is pretty easy. Just jump to this wall, to this wall, to this wall, to this wall, to this wall. All right. Now I need to start hacking, so probably a good time to read some donations.
All right, we have $5 from Kita Nash. My grandfather loves this game, but he can't understand how you're playing it. He thinks you're cheating. I had to go through all the puzzles, and he's just jumping over the walls. We have $50 from Urza MTG. Hey, Azorae, make sure to eat some delicious Welch's fruit snacks to keep your energy up during the run. We have $50 from Zimbabwe. I had to donate while my favorite puzzle platformer runner was on stream. Shoutouts to Azorae for finding the skip for Portal 2 solo co-op. When's you beat rotation?
Well, that's just mean, Zim. All right. Well, that's all I need to do for now. We'll save that for later. Now, it's very, very important that I don't restart level after grabbing this next star. It's very, very important, and I do it all the time anyway. So hopefully my muscle memory won't just kick in and restart levels. That's the last time that I can do it until I have the next 2 stars. So I'm mostly saying this for my sake. If I say it, I tend to remember it just a little bit better. So there's a little tiny gap in this wall, which is just perfect. We can steal some cubes. Now we need to grab a cube through this wall, so we're just going to jam it into the wall just like that. And then I'm going to be using another glitch, similar to the fan slide, where I'm going to kind of block my way while I'm sliding. The game doesn't know how to path me, and it'll just teleport me through the barrier with the cube. All right, so now that I have 2 cubes where they're not supposed to be, I can take them up to floor 3 and have them solve me some puzzles there. This is the most important trick in the run.
Oh.
The truth is out there. This is the only elevator ride we actually have to do, because if you restart, you lose your cubes. And womp. So a second cube stack's going to happen here, and then I'm going to grab the star, and I'm not going to restart level. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. This cube stack's a little bit more difficult than the one in Eagle's Nest. You need to kind of position your cube right about there. And then this one right about there. But for another jump on top of it, and don't reset, don't reset, don't reset. I did it. I didn't restart level. All right. One more teleport right there to steal this. And fortunately, robots don't take fall damage, so I can just go ahead and take the quick way down to the ground floor. Now, you're supposed to use an intended method to steal 2 connectors to get a blue laser here, but you can just jam the gate. Now we are ready for A star and for the end of the game. So while I'm moving my way to A star, it's probably a good time to read a donation or 2.
All right, we have $50 from Sunlow. Beep boop, I am a robot. We have $100 from Quiet Ori. Save patients, kill animals. Go SGDQ.
All right. So lots of things can go wrong on A star. Hopefully they don't. The first sigil is pretty easy. We're going to be using one of the jammers and nerve-wrecker to get onto this wall and just make our way that way. Let's go up and over. There's our paint spawn. Unfortunately, we don't need it for this level. 2 more to go. This one's much more difficult. I was talking about the razor-thin barriers that you need to jump to. Well, this one we need to right there. Land on it like that. All right. Grab our sigil here, do a couple of item boosts up this wall. All right. I was actually able to get that in one shot, which is interesting, because on my PC it takes 2 boosts to get up there. Which means I need to be extra cautious on this one. I'll try with 2 first and see if I can get all the way up. Not quite. All right. So that's the triple item boost there. Gets you up there, gets the last sigil, and now we can make our way to the end of the game.
The intended solutions in A-star are something else.
Yeah. So the intended solution to that last puzzle that I just did is to find a fire axe in like the middle of that world, take it in, chop down a tree, and then do a whole bunch of other crazy shenanigans like that. So the star worlds are kind of, you know, similar to the star puzzles themselves. They're kind of off the wall and goofy, which is pretty neat. Oh, that was the wrong floor. That's unfortunate. So we need to make it to floor 3 now. Our end goal is to get to floor 6. And I actually do need to put these inputs in relatively quickly so that the loading thing works. There we go. I need to make our way to floor 6. Normally you do that by going into a computer terminal and inputting the code that you get from the star worlds.
Nice.
Nice. But instead I can just jump through this invisible, or I guess opposite of invisible. Visible but not really real part of the tower. And hopefully, all right, there, perfect. Slide our way down, and if I line myself up correctly right here, I should be able to drop down directly onto this pipe. Or scaffolding or whatever it is. Jump here, land here, and enter my final resting place. So time. Sorry about that. Should have probably warned you a little bit earlier. And that is the Talos principle, 100%.
Well done.
So, yeah, special shout-outs to the Unconditional Love Club, of course, and the rest of the Talos community. Zemi, Darkid, everybody else. See if I can remember everybody by name. Kojo, Exodasher. You're putting me on the spot here. If I didn't list your name, sorry you didn't make the cut. So if you enjoyed this run or want to see more like it, you can follow me on Twitch, right here. There we go.
Oh my. That was good.
So I appreciate you for having me. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And Portal is up next with Alex.